Channel CV data analyst Babajide Ogunsanwo joins us now on the news at 10. Good to have you again.
Good evening, Vincent.
All right. Well, it's been almost 4 decades since the Minimum Wage Act. Is there a lasting solution to minimizing the recurring labor concerns, especially on minimum wage?
I wish I had the answer, but here's what we need to think about carefully. Today, we are a nation that is about to go to war. We are about to go to war because of a bottle of beer. And what do I mean by we're about to go to a minimum wage war because of a bottle of beer? The state governments have said they can only pay 22,500 naira. Labour insists on 30,000 naira. That's only a difference of 250 naira per day for a worker. That is what we're fighting over. The average cost of a bottle of beer. And so today, because of a bottle of beer, we're about to have a strike. So let's look at why, first, the federal government is struggling to afford the bottle of beer, why the state government is struggling to afford the bottle of beer, and why the organized private sector are struggling to pay the minimum wage. The first, the federal government. In the last 5 years, consecutively, the federal government's revenue has been declining. In 2013, it was 4 trillion naira. Last year, less than 3 trillion naira. Same thing, the state governments. If we look at their revenues, the first half of 2015, they earned 903 billion naira. Now, even though in the first half of this year, they've earned over 1 trillion naira, here's the trick. Because of inflation, 900 billion naira in the first half of 2015 is worth more than 1 trillion naira in the first half of 2018. So the states are complaining that, yes, they might be earning more in nominal terms, but in real terms, their earnings have declined. And also the businesses are complaining that they're earning fewer profits because people are spending more.
Do you think these demands are unrealistic?
These demands are not unrealistic. Again, it does feel good to have a higher minimum wage. I also used to think that a higher minimum wage is the way to go. More money for families like you and I to spend. But here's the evidence. Just as several centuries ago, we all used to believe that, or men then used to believe that the earth was flat until we had better evidence. The evidence today shows that whenever the minimum wage goes up, there are unintended consequences. So for instance, if I were to increase the price of beer to Nigerians, what do you think will happen?
Less people will buy.
If I were to increase the price of cigarettes?
The same thing.
So if I were to increase the price of labor, fewer companies will take on new employers. And that is even the evidence we have today. So let's look at 3 years, the last 3 years of what had happened whenever the minimum wage was increased. 1999, that was just 1 year after the minimum wage was increased. What happened? Unemployment rate went up to 8%. 2001, again, 1 year after the minimum wage was increased. What happened? Unemployment up. Then again in 2012, 1 year after President Jonathan had signed the Minimum Wage Act, unemployment moved from 24% to 27%. So the evidence does show that whenever we increase the minimum wage, unemployment does increase. But yes, it all feels good and it does seem right to have a higher minimum wage, but the evidence shows that there are unintended consequences of the minimum wage. So perhaps we should look at what is more important than the minimum wage. And there are 3 things. We're talking about the minimum jobs. What do I mean by minimum jobs? We've got less than 5 million people on the minimum wage. Oh, yes, it is good for them to prosper, but we have 3 times the number of people on the minimum wage that are unemployed. So if today you have over 15 million people unemployed, that is 0 wages for them. And so, yes, the minimum wage is good, but the minimum job is better.
So are the labor unions looking at these numbers, and how does this, affect quality of life, standard of living, if indeed they get the 30,000 mark?
Again, the 30,000 does seem good, but let's look at what exactly the minimum wage states and what it says. The minimum wage tells every employer that you must discriminate against anybody whose skill isn't valued at 30,000 naira. And so today, if I wanted to employ someone in my company and his skill, and he couldn't give me more value than 20,000 naira, for instance, the minimum wage law states that I must discriminate against him and not employ him. So even though the intention of the minimum wage isn't to do that, we see that the minimum wage does have a lot of challenges in improving welfare, especially to a lot of young Nigerians. We've got over 50 million people that are unemployed and need jobs. So we need to focus on not just the minimum wage, improving other ways that we can get more people jobs.
Okay. Another question that comes to mind is if labor union is looking at other ways to protect their employees, and indeed what you would recommend as the ideal minimum wage in this circumstance for the country.
And there's really no ideal minimum wage. Well, what we should focus on is improving worker productivity, worker output. So that's what the labor union should also focus on. How do we ensure that more workers produce more value? There will be no point of employing someone who cannot contribute more than 20 or 25,000 naira per month to my business, and then I have to pay him 30,000 naira. So we need to focus more on worker output, yes, minimum jobs, minimum productivity, and oh yes, minimum inflation rate. Let me tell you something, Millicent. Would you rather go for 125 naira per month minimum wage of 1981 or go for a 30,000 naira minimum wage of today?
I would need to study all the things in between those
years. The fact does show that a 125
1981
is what more than a 30,000 naira minimum wage. So we do need to focus on minimum jobs, minimum productivity, and I know yes, the government needs to focus on minimum inflation. Again, never judge a book by the cover, never judge a beer by its label. So never judge the minimum wage by only how it sounds.
All right, cheers to you. Thank you so much. Channel TV data analyst Babajido Ogunsanwo for coming on the news.